They'll probably say, where exactly are you going with this? I see you really trying to take it there. Old school flow, chew you out, ain't fair. Jordan pants don't...
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and, start in my little conversation before this video even begins to play. I've recorded this maybe 3 or 4 times. I didn't really want to go too much into this dude, Tariq Nasheed, if for the simple fact that there's certain key things that he says that may be actually true. It's just he overemphasizes them in order to gain a greater audience. But throughout the whole video, because this is not a reaction, throughout the whole video, it was more a radical view on, racial divide. He pulled different bits and pieces in order to justify his rhetoric, which, I'll just play the video and then I'll chime in. Now, to let everybody know, there is an individual on this video, which is American Cholo. Now, in the past, me and American Cholo have never seen eye to eye, and we still don't see eye to eye. It's simply for the fact we have 2 different viewpoints, and both of us are unable to really accept the other. Plain and simple fact. Has nothing to do with gangs, has nothing to do with anything. Now, there's another video that was a rebuttal to this one, but it did more detriment than it did anything else, because this dude literally picked apart everything he said. And even though he used a lot of manipulation in what he was saying in order to get people to see it his way, he still did a number on him. So I think, I'll just play the video.
They get you into the mindset of being subservient, being weak.
It starts around now.
Being pacified. You understand? But this Garcia guy, let's go back to him. This Garcia guy, Francisco Garcia. This guy has the mentality of a lot of anti-Foundation of Black American Hispanics family. This just goes to show you that the Black and Brown coalition is dead. That Khan is dead. It was never, the Black and Brown coalition was never really a thing. It was never really a thing. It was a myth that was created by the left wing. It was something that was promoted heavily by really a lot of Caribbean immigrants back in the early 90s. That whole Black and Brown coalition, that shit got started by a lot of Caribbean and the Democrats who knew how to exploit the Black and Brown rhetoric to undermine Black society. It never existed. Family, there had never.
For one, like as far as like the Black and Brown coalition, I don't really feel like it's ever been that either. But a lot of what he's saying, and what he feels that it should pertain to, I don't know, amongst civilians about Black and Brown. That really doesn't, how should I say, it's not that it doesn't appeal to me, but I'm not necessarily concerned with that because I've seen the divide there. I'm more wondering why in his speech he's speaking more generally of those who are on the streets, and which you'll be able to tell as the video goes on. Like, I have to chime in because this is his work of art. I'm just giving my 2 pieces on it. You know what I mean?
Been a Black-Brown coalition. We're going to get into some history in a minute, but before we get into the history, and we were talking about this fake coalition, that is, the con game is done. The con game is done. But on the East Coast and the West Coast, see, y'all got to deal with Dominicans. Y'all got to deal with them. We have to deal on the West Coast. We have to deal with a lot of Mexican coons out here. And not all Mexicans are coons, but you got a lot of Mexicans out here who want to be white, want to be Anglo. They want to be white, they want to be Anglo. And that's the problem. Now, out here, this one white Latino, he made a video this week talking about why Black folks are not out here helping the Hispanics, because a couple of innocent Hispanic people got smacked up down in LA by a certain Crip set. And everybody in LA, y'all know what it is. It was some isolated shit that don't really have anything to do with anybody.
But if you notice, in that, in throughout his whole point, like he'll throughout this video, he's gonna make take the more victim approach, and why should we help when we're victims and you don't do nothing for us? But yet when it came to another race, he was quick to dismiss as if an isolated incident, but it wasn't an isolated incident because it happened amongst different, it happened many times, different hoods, different people. So it's not just an isolated incident. It never was an isolated incident. People thought that they could do what they did, and it caught up to them. Maybe not in the way most people wanted it to, but it caught up with them. But that's when people are saying black leaders, you know, American Cholo may be talking about actual black leaders, which do absolutely nothing in the ghetto, control absolutely nothing. So I'm assuming if he was talking on that page, more of the people that actually control their neighborhoods he was speaking to. But individuals like this, I don't know if this dude ever gangbanging, but I mean, if the way he talks and pointing out the fact that, oh, it was Crips and it was this, then obviously he wasn't a gangbanger, you know what I mean? So he's basically one of those on the outside looking in, speaking on from a perspective of somebody that may have witnessed it but never really was a part of it. Because even then, you know, there's allegedly, should be said, you know what I mean? But that's beside the point, man. American Cholo does not speak for the double S.
It was very isolated. A couple of dudes from a particular set, they were running around kind of bullying a couple of like Hispanic vendors. So now they're like, a lot of the essays are trying to talk about a war this or war that. How come we ain't coming out saying nothing? Now listen to this guy. This guy's making his little veiled threats here. Now listen to this guy.
You see these guys doing this to the guys selling masks, to the Latino making raspados, beating people up, beating our people up, homeboy. You know what pisses me off more than anything? Us as Rasta and whoever has a platform, we're always trying to diffuse it, always trying to, you know, trying to throw a positive message out there. But what's pissing me off just as much as those guys is, where are the brothers at, man? Where are the African Americans with all their platforms, homie, speaking against this?
Okay. Ooh, let me stop it. Okay, I'm here and I got a platform and I say hold your own nuts. I say I'm doing the same thing and we're doing the same thing that y'all did with Zimmerman.
You see what I'm saying? Like he says basically, we don't need to help you. Grab your own nuts, bitch. Take care of your own businesses. You know, take care of your own business. With Zimmerman is not a Southerner. Zimmerman, I don't even, that's a Zimmerman to me, that's like a Jewish or some else last name. But if it's about grabbing, you know, your own, you know, why didn't you handle it? You know what I mean? Or why didn't one of you handle it? You know what I'm saying? That had nothing to do with Southern. That was a dude took an innocent black dude's life and nothing happened to him. With all the big bad gangbangers out there, nothing happened to him. All that stuff with the vendor in the street, people, you know, I ain't gonna put it out there, but you know what I mean? Things do happen, you know what I'm saying? But Zimmerman's still walking around a free man, still clowning about the M&Ms or the Skittles or whatever, and nothing happened to him. It's just, this is all I hear. And that's no shot at the real ones, because I'm sure if it would have happened in this section, something would have happened, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? So, you know, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, you know what I mean? This dude is basically doing the same thing American Cholo is. When American Cholo made that video, that was more to garnish views, and he was somewhat outraged at it, but more to garner views and take a shot at other channels that he didn't really like, such as this one, you know what I mean? Because I tried to put out a positive spin on things, you know what I mean? But it was mostly, I'm not gonna tell you somebody's gonna go do something, you know what I mean? Leave that to your imagination if you're trying to, you know what I mean? But that's why. But once again, he does not speak for the S.
We're doing the same thing y'all doing with Officer Yanez.
A cop. That's a cop.
You understand? We're doing the same thing y'all doing with this cop out here in New York smacking black folks up.
A cop.
We're doing the same thing y'all doing about Latino gang cops on the police force out here. You have Latinos.
Latino gang. They're Latinos or Hispanics or whatever, but they're cops. They don't have no affiliation with no street gangs. They're just cops that don't like criminals. Plain and simple. That you see why he's reaching in so many different areas. Like we have control over a Mexican cop. The same way we don't have control over a Mexican cop is the same way he don't have no real reach with any black cop unless he knows him personally. But even then, they're not going to listen to what he says. You see what I'm saying? We can play devil's advocate. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Who are actually cops who are actually in police gangs.
Police gangs.
We're doing the same thing you're doing. We're doing the same thing y'all doing about the Nazi lowriders, Hispanic gang out there in them prisons. We're doing the same thing that y'all doing about the Serenos and the Longos and all these other white supremacists clicked up.
White supremacists clicked up. See, that's the going sentiment of anybody that may not get along with blacks or have beef with black gangs. They have to be they have to be white, or they want to be white, or you guys all have to be clicked up. Know your politics. Know your politics, and remember that before anything was established, people were trying to take advantage of other people. If you look at the difference between Southern and the other side, you know what I'm saying? And this is just knowing the business. There's so much rape on that side, like always taking advantage of. It's so much rape, and you can ask anybody that's ever been incarcerated. It happens 24/7. When I was busted in maybe 3 different spots in the hole, some dude got raped across the way. Wasn't no homie. You know what I mean? And they don't need to speak on exactly what it is, but you get the general idea what I'm talking about. So as far as victimizing your own people, it happens more on that side than it does on this side. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's funny because you'll hear like he said Mexicans, and you got the same with blacks. You got the same with every race. There's always somebody that wants to embrace that because they feel like it makes their road easier. There's a lot of people that want to be white because they feel like it makes it that much easier. You know what I'm saying? It's the same way you move out the hood and you move to a spot to where you really don't have to deal with the day-to-day drama. Some people feel like that's a way of bettering themselves, but to point a finger at one particular race like it's unique or they're the only ones that do it, I'm here to debunk all that. Like this guy right here, all it is race baiting. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, he's not going to be in the trenches. That's why a lot of the street gangs avoid it unless they really need to go there. It ain't about being punks. It's just like, why should I, put myself in a position I'm warring with another race when I can just get this money? See, he don't want to see that. You know what I'm saying? But the real is, if people wanted to get it cracking, it's Los Angeles, i.e. it's all these surrounding counties. Like, it would just happen.
Kneel before Zod!